Welcome back to another episode of Industry Talk with Brandon Andre. And today we have a very special guest. We have
Hello, I'm Austin J. Wilson, born and raised in Los Angeles, California, South Central Los Angeles.
You can correct me so that people understand exactly what I mean. So plus size modeling for males, right? That's what you guys might understand this, but it's really called
Big and tall.
Big and tall. And then there's another word that you use that I found interesting.
Brawn.
Brawn models.
That's what my mother agent presented it to me as, and I've been stuck with that one.
So I came across him. Actually, I don't really remember how we were discussing how I came across him, and it had to have been, I think, either I was following all the models in Los Angeles, and you're signed with what agency?
Vision LA.
How long have you been signed with them for?
I want to say 2 years.
So you kind of still feel relatively new as a model?
Yeah, everything is still new to me, honestly. Like I don't know how to really describe it. Really, it's everything's just surreal right now. So it's like I'm still grasping it because that first year was a little slow, but it definitely was just like my starter year, obviously. But the second year, that's when it's like, okay, you're getting adjusted. But now this will probably be my third year, I would say. I got signed in 2022 with my mother agent. And then I believe like months later, that's when I got signed with Vision.
I saw his Instagram feed, and obviously I took an interest because, you know, doing what I do, I'm still learning about everything that possibly exists in modeling. And you always hear about plus size models when it comes to female models, but you never hear about that when it comes to male models. So when I saw him, I was like, oh, this is cool. And I've been keeping up with you for a while because I think when I first went on your Instagram, you were still kind of like new, and so there was still like not a lot of work that I saw that you were posting and sharing. So I'm like, okay, I want to wait for him to get some experience so that when he does come and I do interview him, I want to hear some stories. I want to hear what's going on and, like, you know, get some information so that if you are a big and tall model or brawn model, this is a great resource for you to learn from. And obviously you're still learning. 2 years, you know, you're figuring it out. How old are you?
I'm 27. I just turned 27.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why'd you hesitate?
Because I didn't want to tell my age. Because I want to keep it a secret just so people, you know, because every time somebody asks, I don't really tell them. I just let them guess.
I'm 32.
I mean, no, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying like anything like me getting older or anything, but it's just, I don't know. I like the mystery, you know what I'm saying? Because,
Okay, well, we can edit that unless you...
Cool. You can keep it. I'm not tripping.
Okay. So you're 27 years old, and then in what age did you like begin to kind of figure out that this is something that could be possible for you?
My sophomore year of high school, a buddy of mine, he's actually one of my best friends. His uncle bought a camera and he was like, I need to test it out. So put on my clothes and my shoes and get fly real quick. So, you know, take the pictures. This was when Instagram, like, people were not taking like professional pictures like that around my time, especially like at my age too. So
because it's so long ago, right?
Yeah, like
ages ago.
Yeah. I believe I was like 14 or 15 at the time. So
it's a long time ago.
It was. Yeah. So like ever since then, and I posted it, like people were like, whoa, these are pretty dope. Like, and then I started to like, we would actually shoot almost like every week, honestly. Like
your best friend's dad?
His uncle. We would literally hang out, and he was kind of like a role model for me because I'm the only child. So yeah, and he was an older figure, so he would put us on game about everything and just like, you know, teach us about all the new spots, take us to all these new spots, teach us about fashion, shoes.
Wait, was he a photographer or was he just...
He just bought a camera just to have it. It was him and his buddy. Yeah, they just learned it together. Like, he was a tattoo artist.
He was an artist. So he had some sort of like creative
some type of
edge.
art. He was like, why not? Like, you know, something different. I could record, I could take pictures of my sessions, like, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, we would shoot all the time. Like, that led to me getting a job in high school. I wanted my own shoes. I wanted my own clothes instead of wearing his all the time. Right. So I grew a love into, you know, modeling from there. And like, it was always freelance, and I would get good feedback. People were telling me like, you should really take it serious. And I'm 14 or 15 at the time. I don't know. Like,
well, I want to ask, because at that time frame too, like obviously your bodies change in high school. So did you have the same body that you have now?
Yeah, I've always been like husky. I've always been like a big dude. I've worked out always because I played football when I was younger. So I've always been like this. Yeah. You know, and as I got older now, I realized like if I'm gonna stay in this industry too, I need to, you know, look the part too. Right.
So, which is funny because that kind of contrasts with like today's looks maxing culture on social media, where like, these kids are trying to lose weight and get their jawline and stuff, which is kind of what I wanted to even like unpack today is like, how did you feel? Because I think a lot of kids nowadays, they feel like, well, I have to be skinny and have a sharp jawline and a six pack and I have to mog other guys and stuff in order for me to be, and you don't even understand, bro, how many people I get that come from looks maxing culture to my DMs asking me if they can model. And it's like, oh my gosh, which is kind of crazy because it's cool in one part where they like do these before and afters and they used to be like really big and they lost weight. So it's like cool that they like do that for themselves. But they think that looks maxing equals model, right? And then it's cool to even like have you come on the show to show people like you can really be a model in different types of ways and stuff. But when you were that age, did you ever doubt that modeling was a possibility because you didn't necessarily fit what the traditional mold of what a model is?
I wouldn't say doubt. I just didn't know. Like I didn't know that there was a big and tall model section at all. I had no insight on it. I used to just see models and like they were always skinny, you know what I mean? And always like kind of, you know, fit. But I didn't know that there was a different side to this. So
did that make you feel like this was just like, oh, this is just for fun as a kid in high school, but there's no serious path to it? Like that was like your mindset before it actually became real?
Honestly, I just fell in love with how I looked on camera with like, you know, getting fly and just being in front of the camera. Really, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was like a expression for me. Like it's gonna be funny, but like I would always use like lyrics to songs as my captions to describe the picture in a way. So I still kind of do that. Yeah, I just really loved it. It was like a hobby and it was new to me. If I wasn't at home, I was doing that. After school, I would be with them. We'll go straight into that as long as my homework was done, obviously.
It's actually really cool to hear. Like it's really cool that you found male influence in doing something creative, because usually the story is what sports for guys. It's like, oh, like my coach or my dad played ball or whatever, like this, but it's usually very rarely through something that's artistic and creative. And that's why I think modeling is cool. And when I work with models, I think modeling is the only thing that you could do that specifically focuses in on someone's body and like their confidence within their body and their physique. Everything else is like you're using your body for sports or you're using your body to sing or dance, but like modeling is about literally you. And for you to be able to get that experience and get affirmed by other men at that age, that's crazy. That's like, that's what I do. That's what people pay me for, you know, but you got that for free and you got that at a very young age, very prime time in your life, and you didn't feel judged, right?
No, not at all.
You felt like just like you could be yourself and you can express yourself. Wow, that's really lucky, bro. Honestly, I think like that's actually really, really lucky, because a lot of guys who maybe have had your physique maybe don't feel that way. They don't feel affirmed. They don't feel like value. They feel like they're less than, and they don't get opportunities to feel beautiful, even though, you know, men don't really feel like beautiful for the camera. They don't feel like lit in front of the camera. So that's pretty dope that whoever like did that for you, they seem really dope.
Well, my mom, obviously, she helped me out with that. Like, just learn to love yourself, because it's you at the end of the day, you know? I've never been the one to judge or never been the one to like shame anybody, because that's what everybody does now, you know what I mean? But I really grew just loving myself through the pictures. And then the feedback I got, like other people did as well. So it was like, oh, well, okay, I'm comfortable in my skin. Like I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? There would be days, I'm not going to lie, like my mind was playing tricks on me in a way. Like, you know, there was some self-doubt with certain things and like, I need to lose weight. I want to look like this. But then like at the end of the day, like I'm always going to love myself because it's me. So, and then for everybody else out there who like, you know, feels down about their body or their size, like, you know, if you truly feel that way too, you can always make a difference. You know, you can make a change. You have that choice, but just love yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself, because you know, it's you at the end of the day, you know what I mean?
Well, I have to ask, especially because among males, you know, we all troll each other. So, you know, and I hear this all the time. This is why a lot of young guys are so afraid to even try to do modeling, because they feel like if they do, all their friends are gonna be like, oh, that's gay. That's gay. Everything's gay, right? So in your experience, how was it like being a man or a boy and doing photography, doing modeling, posting it on social media? Like, what reaction were you getting from your friends, from your homies, from everybody that you grew up around? Were they like affirming or?
Yeah, no, they loved it. It was always positive feedback. Like it was always the older people who would say something kind of negative, but I would never pay them no mind, because you're not going to stop me from doing what I like. You know what I mean? And even now, like I have older cousins and older friends who say like little stuff like, oh, that's gay, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, bro, I don't care. It's money. I'm getting money and I'm in pretty cool stuff. Like at the end of the day, like you have to buy the clothes I'm
selling,
you know what I mean? So, but yeah, like a lot of my friends who are still my friends now, they love it. Like they're really proud of me, you know what I mean? And they were always supportive, and that's one thing that I've always had is good support. everybody around me, even when I was in high school, like there was kind of some people who would say like, you know, I can see you doing this. So, and they're still my friends to this day. My support system is really, really high. Like I love everybody who's helped me get to where I'm at now and built that confidence through it too.
That's a blessing, bro.
No, it is.
That's a blessing.
I owe everything to God as well. Like I wouldn't be here without him. So
got that God confidence.
Yeah. That's really where it comes from too.
Yeah.
Just knowing that I like, if you put your mind through to something and you can do it. People always present like this question to me is like, bro, how do I become a model? And it's like, I don't ever want to be like the bearer of bad news. Like I don't ever want to strike like anybody's dream.
Me.
Like I hate being put in that position, especially it's because like I don't want to tell them like you have to have a look. Yeah. You know, they want a look. And it's like the people who ask sometimes like they don't really necessarily have that look. And it's like, I don't want to tell them that, you know what I mean? Because if you believe you can do it, then go do it. I say you go experience it yourself. Like, you know, I'll give you the advice. I'll give you the tips and all that you need. So if you do what you want with that information, you know what I mean? But I hate being put in that position, and I'm not gonna lie, I hate that question.
But can I be a model? Do you think I can be a model?
Dude, I
know how I feel.
I'm just like, bro, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to say anything like that. So I kind of just be like, yeah, go ahead, do this, and then they just go from there. They never do it, but.
So now you know how I feel, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to strike a balance between, you know, wanting someone to believe that they could do everything they can and defeat the odds.
Yeah.
And then also trying to let them know that it might be just impossible. And a lot of people like to like be cute and be like, oh, I'm possible spells impossible. And it's just like, okay, yes, but we're not in a movie. We're in real life. Yeah. And in real life, you don't have all the time in the world to do all these things. And money is a big factor in these things that you want to pursue. And you have to be real, and you have to have at least a backup plan. So that's kind of what I try to do when I talk to people is like, look, let's try to be real about this and see what you can actually make happen.
Yeah.
But then there are people like you who literally break the odds. And then some guy, maybe like 10 years ago, some guy would have been like, well, I'm going to be a big and tall model, brawn model. And everyone's like looking at him like, bro, like there's no big dudes that are on the runway, or there are no big dudes in campaigns. Like, you're crazy. But then look, 10 years now, you're here, and you're an example of like a change that the people have been craving for in the industry. So and then that's like, it makes me look like I'm the villain in someone's story because I told them that I didn't think it would be possible.
See, that's why I just.
But I like to tell people, look, this is how the industry currently is.
Yeah.
But prove me wrong. Like, prove me wrong. Do I think you'll do it? No, I don't think you'll do it, but you can prove me wrong. Yeah. But I think it's cool to be able to have interactions like this where you can then share your story and be like, look, I don't even know how I got here, but this is what it is. But let's take it back now. Okay, so you're telling us about your beginnings, how you started learning how to have a passion for modeling because of the people in your life doing photo shoots of you. Now, how did that translate? You graduated high school. What happened after high school? How long did it take for you to really see this as an actual, side quest or career path?
So after high school, I went to junior college, and around 2017, I met this photographer. Her name is Jasmine Beza. She's one of my good friends today still. I owe a lot of my confidence and support to her too. She's literally shot people in a day. Their digitals, headshots, everything. Next thing you know, they're signed. At the time, I didn't know what headshots were. I didn't know what digitals were. I didn't know anything. So I just had a regular photo shoot, and I was just asking her questions. She was just telling me like, yeah, you should look into it. Like, you could do e-com work. You can do this. You could do that. I'm just like, okay, I don't know what any of that is, but I'll give it a try. 2019 is when TikTok started like becoming a thing. At first, I was like, this is kind of corny. Like, I don't want to be on this. But then my little brother, he's not really my brother, but he, I call him that. He went crazy. He was like one of the first people on there to get like 1 million followers, the verified check. And he started bringing me around all these influencers. Now I was just like, you know what? All right, I could do it. So I started on there, posted a lot, went viral, all the little light skin stuff I would post. And
then I demonstrate a pose for the camera.
Not right now. I met another model on there. Her name is Austin. She's signed by Natural Models, I believe that's what it's called. And we've been friends and ever since. And then 2022, that's when I went over her house and she was like, let me help you out. I wouldn't necessarily have any advice with you on the men's side, but I could tell you how it is on the women's side. And this is what I did. So I visited Jasmine again and got my digitals, because I don't even know what struck me to even do that. Like, I think something in me was just like, you know what, just go, just do it. Hit her up, put the deposit down. She told me what to wear. And then from there, I went over to Austin's after. We were just, you know, doing research. I was going through everybody's pages, you know, submitting. I remember I went to IMG's specifically, and there was a guy I seen on TikTok when I was coming up on there, and he was on the same thing, and I was like, oh shoot, like he's a model now, like whoa. She was like, look on his page, see if his agent's on there. Went to his page, and his agent was there, who I'm currently signed to now, DeMonte. I've always been the one to speak. Like, I'm always going to reach out. I'm always going to send a message. I'm always going to ask. So I kind of asked him, like, yo, bro, is it cool if I like submit to your agent? I don't want it to make it seem like I'm taking, like, you know, I don't ever want to be that guy. And he was like, bro, please, by all means, like, it's money for everybody. It's there for everybody. So I did. And my agent got back to me like within 10 minutes. He's like, yeah, let's set up an interview. Next day, got the interview. He loved me. He told me, would you want to shave your beard off? I'm like, ooh, like, I'm like, hold on. Like, I haven't seen my face since I was in high school. So at first I said yes, but then a couple days went by. I'm like, nah, never mind. Can I trim it down? He's like, yeah, that's cool. A lot of high-end fashion, they don't want people with beards. I noticed that. And he kind of told me that. He was like, yeah, a lot of models like in the industry don't have beards. So
yeah.
Just
was this Ross, or is this a different?
No, this was DeMonte, my mother agent. He was telling me this. I didn't meet Ross until he plugged my interview with that, and I had 3 interviews actually
with 3 different agencies before you signed.
Yeah, I was.
By the way, if you guys don't understand how mother agenting works, a mother agent will manage the career of a model, and then they will set up interviews with agencies to then place them through agencies. So DeMonte, is that his name?
DeMonte, yeah.
DeMonte. So he signed you as his mother agent, as your mother agent, which is actually pretty bold too, because you know it's very hard to find a mother agent that represents commercial models. It's more local, and it's very limited of what you can really do with them. But fashion models, the reason why mother agents exist is because they can place them in New York, LA, London, Paris, Milan, and they can collect payment from all those different markets. But there's some that do, and they know how to do it effectively. So he must have taken either a risk with you, or was there someone else that was also a Braun model that he had represented?
Yeah, my boy Jordan.
That's what he said. That
the one that's signed by IMG.
So he decided to take a risk with 2 guys.
He has a lot. He has
Braun models.
Yeah, and women, plus size women as well.
Plug him. What's his Instagram?
DeMonte St. Clair. He's one of the coolest guys in the world.
Where's he based?
Atlanta. That's where he stays, I believe. That's one dude who literally will travel the world. Wherever he's at, he'll scout as well.
I am following him. Okay.
Yeah, I met him for the first time when he took my digitals. Within that week, he told me, he was like, hey, you have an interview with these agents. He got me my first campaign, and that was with Telfar. It was pretty exciting. Flew out to New York, first time on a plane, January 2023. I was already placed because after the interview with the other agencies I didn't really like them. So Vision was like the only place where I felt welcomed. Like I met Ross, I met Marco, like, you know, I did my research on them, but I didn't see any big and tall models on their board. So, you know, we're talking, they're getting to know me, and I asked them, like, I noticed on your guys' board, there's no big and tall models. And they're like, yeah, we don't really believe in following like trends of how other people are doing this and that. So I'm like, okay, well, why am I here? And they were like, well, we're willing to take a chance with you. So I'm like, oh, like, all right, like, cool, I'm with it. And they were like, yeah, so you'll be our first big and tall model. And I was like, all right, let's do it. They did warn me, and they said, please bear with us on time because we've never done this. So we're
taking a risk, taking a chance.
Yeah, we're both going to take a chance, and we're both going to learn through this. I'm like, all right, that's cool. So in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, it was slow. I felt like, what am I doing? Did I make the right decision? But I got my first test shoot done with Patrick. He was super cool, made me feel comfortable. And like, you know, after that, like, you know, I got a bunch of castings. My first job with them was with Nike, and that was my first e-com shoot with them.
But now going back to the New York, what job was that?
Telfar.
And that was before or after?
That was before. My first job with Vision.
Got it. There we go. So you had the first job
with Telfar
in New York, and then your second job, but first job with the sign agency was
that's
with
what I meant.
Nike.
Yeah, let me elaborate.
Cool. This is why I can clear it up for y'all. How tall are you, by the way?
I'm 6'1".
Okay, cool. So you're tall. Yeah. He's big and tall. So that's why I call big and tall. Okay. What was it about the other agencies that you felt like you didn't decide to go with them?
So when I was in New York, I had a interview with one agency. They were cool. Like, you know, they made me feel welcomed and everything. I just didn't know if like what we were doing after that because I never heard back from them. So I was like, oh, okay, never mind. It's cool. The second agency that's out here, you know, I'm not going to name them, but they didn't know who I was when I walked in. Like, you guys set the appointment up. I got there and she was kind of late. I'm just like, yeah, I
Was
don't
it like
know.
a bigger agency name?
Yeah,
Not like
yeah.
a boutique, because there's difference between like boutique agencies versus bigger
It's a
name
big
agencies.
agency. I just don't want to put them out there like that.
You don't have
man.
to. It's good to know for you guys to understand that there's a difference because Vision's a boutique agency. They're like more
I
smaller.
didn't even know that.
Well, when I call a boutique agency someone that doesn't have like a global name, like Vision is known in LA, but Vision doesn't have, I don't believe, a sister office in New York City.
No, I don't think so.
Like the way that Next has Next LA, Next
IMG
London,
and all
Next
those.
IMG or Wilhelmina or Ford. So that's kind of what I think of as like a boutique agency.
Yeah.
But they also represent,
Some pretty hitters.
yeah, they have great
they-
people,
yeah.
but their board tends to be a lot smaller, which means that they have a lot more energy and time to focus in on their talent as compared to these bigger named agencies where they have a lot of talent and they don't really get to spend as much time with them. So you got signed with Vision Models in 2022.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to get your first booking with Nike?
So my first booking with Nike was in 2023. The process with that was I had a casting with them in March, and then I believe a month later in April, that's when they called me back and said, "What's your availability?" I was like, "Oh shoot, like I'm free. Let's go." And then I went, and yeah, so roughly around that time, like a few months.
What kind of job was it?
Ecom. You know, dream of mine was to always work with Nike. You know, I stepped into modeling thinking like everything was campaign based, but I didn't know what ecom was. And then I went up there and I'm like, oh, so this is what I was doing. First day was nerve wracking. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah. It was,
But you had some training, right? So the first job that you got in New York, that was what, ecom job too, or what
no,
was
it was
it?
campaign.
Oh, you did a campaign for your first job.
Yeah, it was, I'm not gonna lie. They introduced the whole revolving thing with the model standing on something centered and then the thing moving in circles. They started that. I'm not gonna lie. So I gotta give
The
their props.
brand in New York.
Yeah, Telfar did that. So with the campaign, I didn't really like need to pose that much, but with Nike, there was distinctive poses that they wanted. I'm not gonna lie, the models that were there, I told them like, this is my first day. So they were like, bro, just watch me. Like, just watch my poses, watch how I do it. You'll eventually find a rhythm. And then that's how I learned, like, okay, so there's ecom poses that you need to do. And I gained experience doing that because I started to go there more frequently. And then I was like, okay, I'm getting
They
used to
became a
this.
client of yours, a regular
Yeah,
client.
they're one thing too with big and tall models, the best work you'll get is ecom work because that's where all the money's at. That's the most consistent work too.
Especially because you're more rare. And since you're more rare, they're more likely to bring you back
Yeah.
without having to have to go look for someone else.
And the thing is with Nike though, they have a lot of big and tall models that are in there. And I've met literally all big and tall models there and regular models as well. I've met so many great people through there. And so shout out Nike. Like a lot of good friends of mine are, you know, from there. So yeah.
Okay, so the brand that you shot with in New York, Telfar, what was the difference, would you say? There's a campaign, ecom, but what was, I guess, in terms of like movement and posing in front of the camera, like what did they, and was it commercial or was it a fashion brand?
It's fashion. So they wanted like, you know, like look sexy, like, you know, feel in yourself and like
So you tapped into your TikTok
I
days?
had to. Yeah.
Are you ready for that pose yet or no? Not yet?
No, it definitely like, you know, they wanted you to be yourself. Like, do this. You know, they played music so you can be comfortable. And I was like, all right, well, cool. Like, and I looked back and I was like, damn, I could have did some better shit, but it's cool. It was fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was good. I learned a lot because I was studying other people while they were up there. Like after I would get off and I looked how they did it, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna try to do that.
But I'm assuming it was like it was more freeing because it was campaign and you're not like just doing poses a bunch of times.
Yeah. That's really it. Like I could do anything and not look bad.
What surprised you when it came to the pay that you got as a model from the campaign that you did versus the ecom?
Taxes and agency fee. Those two things right there hit the check. I'm not gonna lie. So they'll set the rate, but then you always have to put that into consideration that your agency definitely needs their cut and taxes too. So New York tax is different compared to out here. I thought I was gonna get a good number, but then, you know, it dwindled and I was like, all right. It's still something because at the end of the day, you know, I work my 9 to 5 and then I'm like, oh, okay. But then I realized I just made this within this amount of time. I'm like, what? This is amazing. But ecom work, it's great. I'm not gonna lie. Ecom work is great. You still get hit with the tax and the agency fee, but it's consistent. Honestly, another thing too is who you are. I believe like models who have been in this game, like I think they set their price.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you become a brand, not just a model,
Right.
but you become a brand.
My agent, DeMonte, he told me like a lot of the times for big and tall models, modeling is like a side job. I look at them both as full-time jobs though, because I mean, I have to leave work to go work. You know what I mean? He gave me the real. He was like, a lot of big and tall models use this as a side job for extra money. It's going to be a little tricky because, you know, a lot of big and tall models are mainly used for e-com. I was like, all right, like that makes a lot of sense. And I appreciate him giving me the truth rather than me having these expectations and not meeting them. You know what I mean? So I do work. I work a full-time job and I do model.
Yeah. Where do you work at for your full-time job?
I work with adults with mental and intellectual disabilities. I've been doing that for about three years now. I went to school for it, got my bachelor's in psychology. Nice. Plan on getting my master's pretty soon, going back. And nice. Yeah, especially with what I do now, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm a model forever. I'm gonna do this forever too, because there's like, you know, it's very rewarding work with both. So.
And you can do both. You're still doing both.
Yeah. Like I have, my job is cool enough. Like because I gave them a warning and I told them like, look, I do this as well. So there's some days I won't be here. And they'll be like, all right, that's fine. Just let me know prior to. I have some pretty cool coworkers and, you know, a pretty cool boss that allows me to do so. So that's, you know, some freedom to do both. And I love it. It's cool.
When you listen to him talk and you hear his entire life experience, there's clearly favor on you. And that's what I call the favor of God, because it doesn't really work out as easily for everybody.
Yeah,
you know? So it's cool to hear that you can kind of do both. How do you view modeling from like a deeper perspective other than just being a face in front of the camera?
I would say when I started when I was 14, like I kind of knew right then and there. I'm not even gonna say I kind of knew. I knew right then and there, like this is what I want to do. After meeting so many people and meeting so many influencers and seeing how they go about it, but never met any that were my size. And I'm like, you know what? Like, why not? Like, you know, and as I got older and I realized like, this is what I could do, I just went full force and did it. I've always kept God in my life to know that I could do anything. Yeah, a lot of prayers, you know, a lot of just spending time in that book, in the Bible, just firmly believing that this is for me and firmly believing that I can do this. And I realized that when you work towards something that you believe in, that you truly believe in, things will start to show itself like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and do this. Before I even got signed and all that, it was 2018, a brand hit me up and wanted me to model for them. And I was like, whoa, like, okay, so this must be a sign, like I'm doing something, but I didn't know how to go about it. So I didn't really answer everything properly. So we never worked. And I was like, oh, okay, it's all good.
You're like $10,000.
I did say some crazy shit. I didn't know. So I was like, all right. That's how I kind of knew, like
someone values you. They find value in you.
Yeah, like a big brand reached out to do this. And I was like, okay. Well, it was a big brand at the time. I don't know what they're doing now, but.
How do you wrestle with being in an industry that doesn't always glorify God and having projects that don't always bring glory to God? Especially knowing that your agent or your manager might not share the same morals or values that you do, but like, how have you prepared for that?
Luckily, I've worked with brands that, you know, haven't shown any negativity in that sense or just anything against it. So I'm blessed to be a part of like some pretty cool projects. As far as like what other people believe in, you know, that's them. Like, there's no judgment. I don't like, you know, if you feel like you don't align with that, no, so be it. Cause you know, you have your own choice at the end of the day. But as far as like when it comes down to like brands and like doing certain things, like I'm very vocal, you know what I mean? I've told my agents like, oh, okay, I'm not really comfortable with doing this. And be like, that's fine. You know, sometimes they'll ask why, but I, you know, personal reasons, just I choose not to. But yeah, I haven't had a run in with any brand that hasn't shown me that yet. You know what I mean? So
are there like lines that you won't cross, and like what are those lines for you?
I got offered to do like some underwear brand, and I was just like, I don't think I'm ready for that yet. Like, I don't necessarily see myself doing that yet until I get my body a certain way. There's like this internet dad bod that everybody loves. And it's just like, I kind of would want to fall under that if I were to do something like that. But I'm not ready for that. And then I seen what the brand kind of did when they did choose a different big and tall model. I'm like, oh, I'm kind of glad I didn't do it, because I just wasn't ready for what they were going towards.
Was that like a personal, like, not ready because I'm not happy with my body reason, or like a moral reason, like this interferes with my faith kind of a reason?
No, it was just more or less like I just needed to lose some weight. It was like, and I don't think I want to see myself being put out there just yet like that. I love my body and I'm comfortable in it, but it's just like the internet is a scary place. So it's like, I don't want people, I'm not ready yet, Right. But eventually I know, like, when the time is right, it will happen, So yeah, that's what I'm waiting
now on. In terms of like faith wise though, like, are there things that you will and will not do, and like what are those things? Especially because there's a lot of people that might be Christian and that might want to like hear from you, like, what are those boundaries, because it's hard sometimes when this is a job and it's like, okay, I mean, like underwear, like I've talked about this with my other model friends who are Christian. It's like, well, you're selling a product and you have to sell the product, so it's not like it's sexual.
I was gonna say, I don't think that's really conflicting. When they start doing like the upside down crosses and shit like that, I'm not for that. But I haven't seen anything like that. You could kind of tell, but the people who run it, like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing, I'm good, you know what I mean? But that's high-end fashion. The commercial stuff that I do, I haven't necessarily seen anything in that sense yet. I don't really think we do too much that's conflicting with it, you know what I mean?
Right, which is why I always tell people that commercials like the safest space that you can kind of be in, because the crazy stories you hear about weird photographers that are pervy and gross, you really only find that in like the high fashion world. But you don't really find that in commercial world, because most of those
you're at a studio all day and like you're around other people, so it's like, luckily everybody I've met on set with everything I've done, they've been cool. Like, I haven't ran into anybody who was weird or like just creepy.
Right. Being that you're specifically chosen because of your body, how does that feel? And like, how do you process that, or how do you like manage that, I guess?
Obviously, like, when I do lose weight, I think I'll still be in that big and tall realm because I'm tall. And it's like the size that I do want is going to be like big still. So it's like they'll keep me there, because I have a friend who I met. He's been in the big and tall industry for a minute now. His name is Corin. He used to play football, and he's a big dude. He's like 6'5". He's muscular though, so he's staying in that realm, you know what I mean? If he were to lose all his muscle, he would be skinny, and then I believe he would be in the, the high fashion stuff. So with as far as me being chosen for my body, I mean, yeah, it's a conversation I've had with DeMonte. We had this direction going towards, how you look now, but if you lose weight, I think I won't substantially look different. Like, I'll always keep my face, and like my size is still going to be pretty husky because that's just how I'm built. I don't think it's really going to be a problem when I do lose everything, like my weight and everything. So, because I'll still be able to do what they want.
Is that your plan? Because you said so are you planning?
Yeah, I'm on my fitness journey now. Like, going to the gym 5 times a week, and just honestly, I just want to promote a healthier lifestyle too for myself, because I just want to change. Like, it's cool being big and all that, but it's like, it's time to change.
So you're going to be, okay, this is actually interesting. So you've talked about this with your agencies, which is kind of what we're talking about. Because when I had this conversation with Anna, who's a curve model, basically I learned through her that they want you to stay in between certain sizes. And then if you change, that's when like you kind of get repositioned into the industry in a different category. But it's kind of harder. I think for women, it's like you are the traditional standard sizing. Then you're in this midsection range, which is very rarely do you find work, and then you're in curve. Curve does like a lot of work for curve models, but they need you to stay curve, and then you get into plus size, and then also plus size has their own thing. So in male modeling, big and tall, how stringent is the sizing for male big and tall models?
Because I wear double XL. I know that it goes up to 3X, I believe.
The sample sizing for big and tall models.
Yeah, I believe it goes up to there, because they have. So when I'm at Nike, I believe like they'll just have certain people do certain sizes. Like, I always do double XL, and that's my size. I know when I do lose weight, I'll still be a double XL, just because of just how everything fits, you know what I mean? And it looks better on me. So, because I'm naturally at XL, but I wear a lot of double XL stuff. And on camera it looks better wearing double XL too. So yeah.
But was there ever conversation? I mean, you just mentioned it, like we need you to stay this size in order for you to like continue working this specific for this, like for instance, for the clients, you know, like that's kind of the pressure that I heard from women. It's like harder for them to maintain the clients because the clients are hiring them specifically for their measurements and stuff. So I don't know if you've experienced that. I've heard that.
No, not at all. I honestly didn't even know that. I look at this one model specifically who I met at Nike. His name is Shane, and he's been doing this for a while now. But he's very fit, and he's like very muscular, but still like big and tall. But you know, I believe he wears like a XL or a double XL, but he wears either or. But he's still thriving because he doesn't have like the shape as a big and tall model, like as if like curvy in a way, because he's more fit. Like he looks like brolic. He looks good. Like he looks good as like, you know, this size, because he's still considered a big and tall model. Kind of the size where I want to be right there. It's just, that's perfect for me.
Are you saying that you just basically want to replace like fat with muscle and keep the same size, but just have muscle essentially?
Yeah, that's where I'm headed, you know.
When I first asked you when we were talking in the DMs why you said like we're not called plus size men, like plus size male models, why big and tall male models have a different title for themselves than like plus size female models?
Just like the way big and tall sounds. Plus size just, I don't know, I just feels weird.
Feels
I don't
like
know.
feminine.
I'm not gonna say feminine, but because you mainly say that about women, like, you know, they're the curve or like, you know, plus size, you know. But I don't know. I just got so used to hearing big and tall, and when I'm on set, they always say big and tall, big and tall. Like North Face, when I worked with them, their category for us is big. So I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So that's why I said it, because that's what I was used to. But if the proper name, don't slander me already, but if the proper name is plus size, then cool. Like, you know, so be it. But I'm going to keep calling it big and tall or brawn. You know what I mean? Just because they sound more masculine and just they just sound better.
Have you seen other agencies' websites, see like what they call it, like officially on their rosters? Or if any of them even have a specific roster for other sizing?
I know I've been on a few that just have their men's board. It's men, and that everybody's on there. But I think there's a couple. I don't know. I don't remember. I think there are a couple that say big and tall, and then there's some that say plus. Oh, well, the category is plus, and then they'll have men and women. There we go.
Got it. So okay, so they do kind of call it plus.
Yeah, it's like between both.
Interesting. So what brands are you still hoping to work with? Today's podcast is brought to you by me, Brandon Andre. If you're a model who wants to become a working model, then you need to enroll in my Model Masterclass today. In my online class, I teach models how to make more money by showing them how to manage their careers as a business. From getting signed, to building a portfolio that gets you jobs, to building an audience on TikTok and Instagram, then monetizing it, to learning how to win the favor from your agents and casting directors, to learning how to brand yourself on social media, and how to lure in brands and brand deals to increase your income as a model. Getting signed doesn't mean you'll get work, but learning how to run a business does. So enroll my Model Masterclass now by going to my website at brandonandrephoto.com.
Riri, if you know, you can bring me back, that would be a blessing.
Wait, bring you back? How about, before you even answer that, tell us all the brands you have worked with so far. Surprise us.
Telfar, Nike, Asics, North Face. There's a brand that's in Target for like hair products called American Crew. Puma x Fenty with Rihanna. It was amazing. I've did my first commercial recently with Toyota.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Must have been a nice check.
It was you know, it was worth it. It was a blessing though. I love it. Yeah, that's it so far.
So what do you know about big and tall models walking on the runway? Have you heard of what's happening on that side of things?
I believe like a year ago, I was just on Instagram scrolling and I seen this big and tall model named Corbin. He lives in the UK and dude, he's killing it. He's in the high fashion for plus size modeling. And I'm like, if he can do it, I could do it. You know what I mean? And I reached out to him and he followed me back. He was like, bro, like, it's cool seeing other people from, you know, in the States doing what you're doing. I'm like, no, bro, it's cool seeing you doing what you're doing. Like, you're paving a way for everybody. I know DeMonte has somebody who walked for Tommy Hilfiger on the runway before, which was pretty cool. He was a big and tall model. But yeah, seeing Corbin like really break that barrier, because I believe he was in Vogue for the UK. I was just sick seeing that. I haven't seen anybody else do so, but he's the only one that I've seen so far.
Do you feel like as a big and tall model that you have a responsibility to like break barriers for people? You're kind of looked up as an inspiration to others?
I'm not gonna say responsibility to break barriers, but knowing the fact that I can and I am is cool, you know, and being an inspo to other people is super dope because it's like that's the whole reason why I kind of started this too, is to be just somebody who you guys can, you know, look towards like, oh, he's doing it, I can too. And you know, because I'm not gonna lie, like we spoke about earlier, kids mentalities with how their bodies are is like, you know, they don't really necessarily know how to navigate through that. And like kids look at somebody who's older or just like, you know, like whatever they consume on the internet is just realizing like, oh, there's somebody my size really doing it. That's cool. And, you know, and hopefully that can help them be comfortable with their skin and be comfortable with themselves. It being a responsibility, I wouldn't say that necessarily, but it is good knowing that I inspire other people because I mean, I was that person, you know, when I was coming up because I reached out to Stephen G. He was like one of the first model, like big and tall models to go viral with Rihanna's Savage Fenty lingerie. So that kind of broke the barrier for everybody to go. Obviously, people were modeling beforehand. I believe him and a guy named Trey Hale. He's another big and tall model. And those are the only two that I know that were like that I've seen that were doing it. I'm like, whoa, like these dudes are going crazy. So shout out to them because I actually reached out to Steven and got some advice from him, and it was cool enough to hear from him about, you know, and, you know, I told him like, bro, you're inspiring me to do this. And I'm never I'm always the person to give credit where it's due because I always love to, you know, give people their flowers and let them know like, yo, I appreciate you for doing what you do because you led me to do this, you know? So yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Your story sounds like you were who you were. You weren't trying to be anybody and you found a place that accepted you for that. And you found a place for yourself in modeling as a result. Yeah. It doesn't sound like you are necessarily an advocate for like the body positivity movement where you're trying to show people like this is me and this is all like accept this, especially because you said that you're intending to trade in the fat for muscle.
In a sense, I'm kind of placed into the whole body positivity stuff because when I'm being presented to other people and when people see me or like when people view me on the, you know, promoting these products, it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, if somebody his size can do it, I can too. And I mean, I'm all for body positivity because love yourself at the end of the day because you're the one that has to wake up in it.
Well, that's what's interesting about your story is that it just sounds like, you know, you were who you were and then you were placed into this world because the opportunity presented itself. But it doesn't also sound like you're saying, but you have to world accept this body type that I have.
Yeah, no, I mean, because at the end of the day, this business has been here for a while, and obviously, like they've stuck with who they stuck with for a reason. You know, that was a question I asked DeMonte, because I talk to him all the time. I always love asking questions. I love picking people's brains. But I asked him like, how do you feel about higher end fashions, not like brands not working with big and tall models? And he's put it in perspective. He was like, you got to think Europeans aren't your guys' sizes. I mean, some people are, but that's not their main consumers. Like, I was like, oh, you got a point there. Like, that makes sense. He's like, you got to think European sizes are a lot smaller because they're smaller. So I was like, oh, all right. Like, and then another thing, like these people demanding brands to work with us, like Gucci and all that. Like, bro, you can't persuade somebody just because you want to be in it, like, which is cool. Like, it's up to them, but like, we're not their prime customers. Like, we're not their prime consumers. Usually when big and tall, like a lot of the brands, like high fashion brands that work with like people are like NFL players,
celebrities.
Yeah. And their stuff is custom.
Right.
You know, and you gotta realize they have money to pay for that custom stuff. So I'm not saying anybody doesn't, but you know, the reason why you see a lot of high end fashion brands working with NFL stars is because like their stylist has like a connection with that and they pay the extra fee for the custom pants or the shirt, you know, so that's really how that goes.
Yeah, it's good to talk about that just because I think that there's a difference between being a model who wants to be an advocate versus being a model who's just like grateful to be here. Like, hey, I'm just grateful to be here. I always have these conversations on social media in the comment sections where they're like, Fashion Week and the runway needs to have more body representation of all these people and stuff. And I get that, but at the same time, I don't see that you're someone that's like trying to do that. You're not trying to necessarily like, oh, like force yourself into different brands and wanting them to represent you. You're more like, again, I'm happy to be here. Like, who wants me? Who's fitted for me? And what opportunities are there for me? Yeah. And you're just grateful to be there.
Yeah, like, hey, look, if somebody presented, like, if they were to hit my agent up tomorrow, like, hey, Austin, we want you in London for this runway, I'm not gonna say no. You know what I mean? Like, cool, I'll go. If it happens, it happens. I'm more for, like, you know, whatever's for me will find me, you know?
Yeah, I think that's cool, and I think it's a really great mindset to have.
Another thing too, don't get your feelings involved with this either. It's a business at the end of the day. Like, I know when I first started, I got my feelings involved because I'm like, why isn't anybody hitting me back? Why am I going to these castings and nobody's calling back? I realized you can go to a casting, months later they'll call you. I was like, oh, okay, well, it's just a waiting game, honestly. You have to be patient. I would say don't get your feelings involved because when you do, you'll be upset. Like, you know, and I was upset in the beginning. I was like, man, like, I haven't had any work. I'm like, am I doing this? But like I said, it was slow. But that's how it is. Like, you got to understand there's 1,000 other people who are doing what you do. So best advice is really just like, you know, just wait your turn. Like, just be patient, have a backup plan. Like, I work a job. I already had a career set up in my mind for when, you know, I get older and everything. This is what I'm going to do. But, you know, modeling has been a part of my life. So I'm going to do both. Why not? But always have a plan. Always have a backup job. Please do not solely base your income on modeling because like it can be slow. I'm not gonna lie, the commercial work, that's where it gets fun because when you start getting commercial work and I mean like on camera for commercials and TV, being extras, like it's pretty cool. That's fun. I see that a lot. Couple friends who are big and tall models, but they're in commercials more. They're in the commercial side of things, which is fun, which is cool. Who doesn't want to see themselves on TV?
Well, that begs me to ask too, in the beginning and even now, when you are testing and you're being sent out, did you feel, well, I guess you wouldn't really know how to compare it to like a traditional model, but like, did you find any resistance in photographers being willing to test with you because you were more niche and different than your traditional model?
I can't say. DeMonte kind of told me, like, as far as like with certain models, like some photographers don't know how to shoot big and tall models. So luckily, like, you know, I always send my, you know, when Ross and everybody would send me over a photographer, I always send it to him. And like, and that's another thing too, sidetrack. Have a good relationship with your agents, please. I've heard a lot of models say that they don't. And it's so horrible because I can never imagine beefing with them. They're some of the sweetest guys I know. Yeah, so I run everything through him and I ask him, like, what you think? He's like, okay, yeah, no, I could see, you know, you doing that. You know, and I've seen that he's worked with other big and tall models. He's even told me sometimes too, like, I don't think he necessarily knows how to style. So you would need to take that risk and go. And I'm like, okay, but nothing, you know, that stopped me from working with anybody. But I have like, which is cool too, they send you a list of photographers too that you get to choose from, you know, and they go about it from there.
Did you ever have to pay for testing or did you get a lot of that just
sometimes
covered?
It's free. They do charge, you know, I'll either pay for it or they're just billed to me through my agents.
Right.
Yeah.
What is it like when you're interacting with people in your day-to-day life, your friends, family, coworkers, and you tell people, yeah, I'm a model? What reactions do you get? What conversations come up?
My mom's always seen it. She's always supported me through it, and she's just happy to even, you know, boast about me to other people. As far as my friends, one of my brothers, Tim, literally every time we go out and he's introduced me to people. He's like, you know, my friend's a model. I'm just like, all right, it's cool. I love when they do it, but it's just like I'm getting put on the spot. Yeah, it's exciting. It's like, damn, like what I've been working for is, you know, people cherish it, people support it. You know, actually. It's crazy as I went out in public once and somebody walked up to me and was like, yo, I've seen you on this and that. I'm like, oh shit, damn. Like, I don't know how to feel. Like, it's kind of starstruck in a sense. I was like, wow. Somebody I met on set at Nike, he told me like, dude, I've seen you on Telfar's stuff and you're the reason why I bought this. I'm like, oh shit. Like, hearing that is just like, wow, all right.
I need to get paid more.
I wish. It makes me feel good, and I'm happy that I can be somebody else's light to whatever they're feeling, you know, and just like, make them feel comfortable in the clothes that they're buying.
What was your experience walking into a store and seeing your picture up on the stores?
When I did the Savage Puma campaign, it was in a shoe store. It was on the little video thing where you buy the shoes, and I was just like, whoa. Like, people, every time they were going, they would send it to me. I was like, shit. I didn't get the chance to see it in person yet, but I mean, it's obviously gone now, but I didn't get the chance to see it. But I did see it on like all the blogs and all the websites and everything. But the fact that people have sent me that like recently now that this commercial has been going on, like it's been broadcasted during like NBA games. So like all my friends just tag me and then they like take a picture and send it to me. And I'm just like, wow, that's pretty dope. Like, I don't know. Like sometimes I get overwhelmed, but it's just like, it's a good feeling though, knowing that like, oh shit, like being noticed, you know, but it's all a blessing at the end of the day.
How have you seen everything translate into social media followers, and how have you seen social media become a big part in your modeling career?
Man, like I said, if TikTok wasn't here, I probably wouldn't be modeling. TikTok is literally like, that's primarily where I got majority of my followers from. Yeah, nah, I'm happy we kept that app because.
Wait, so if we go back to your TikTok, are we going to see all your thirst traps and all that stuff?
It wasn't thirst traps, but just like little trends that were going at the time, and like
you could do a little dancing moves.
No, I would never dance. No, I'm not doing that. It was just like literally, it was just pictures. Like every picture I've taken, I just would post. And during the time, because the app is so different now, man. I wish it was just how it was years ago, because it was so much easier to post, and like so much easier now. Every day is a day in a life, or it's an edit, or it's just something that's just
some
like
guy yelling about if someone could be a model or something.
It works though. It works.
It do be working.
It does work. So I can't knock it. Honestly, social media, man, that's literally marketing it in itself, because you're marketing yourself. Instagram is my portfolio, you know. It's a subsection of my portfolio from my board. But yeah, if TikTok was not here, man, I probably wouldn't be modeling now, because I wouldn't have met Austin. I wouldn't have seen Jordan, and we wouldn't have been friends then. And then, yeah, we went from there. So
that's pretty sick. So what do you think you need to be doing now as a model to like expand more of your opportunities to get work?
Say that. I need to post. Okay. I have a friend named Vincent. He just recently got signed to my mother agent, and he's big on social media. Like he's younger than me, and like, dude, because I'm not gonna lie to you, like I've been in like a creator's block for like the past 2 years, dude. It's just like so hard to get out of that like mindset just to start posting again, because I see what he posts and I'm like, damn, I could do that. And he's even told me like, bro, just copy me. I'm like, I can't, knowing that me copying somebody is the reason why I'm going about it, you know what I mean? So I need to post. I need to post more fashion stuff. I can't really post being on set because of NDAs and all that. So that's what kind of, you know, so I have to wait until the product is out. I really just need to post more.
Yeah. So any of the videos that I talk about, have they ever stuck out to you?
Yeah, you literally said, like, I remember it was the video you posted about like, what should I post as a model? Like what videos, what you should be doing. Don't post like tips and advice, like just post you in the stuff. And you know, and I have ideas. I wrote them down. I just need to do it. I need to stop being lazy.
Yeah. I haven't really officially announced it. I don't even know if you know, but I officially became a mother agent, and I signed 2 of my first models. But I'm only like starting with these 2 particular models because I never wanted to become a mother agent, but naturally I think that was just what I was destined to become, just how everything started falling in line to lead me to.
Congrats.
Thank you. The thing that I'm doing differently with these models that no other mother agent really does, number one, I have like which I've always mentioned this to people, that if I'm going to become a mother agent, I'm going to have a percentage for social media earnings, because I'm going to actually like build you up on social media. Mm-hmm. So they're currently like in development to become personalities on social media. And right now, like I'm having them do a 30-day selfie video challenge where on their stories on Instagram, they're having to post every single day, talking to the camera, talking to their audience, and just talking about something. That's just to get them like comfortable in front of the camera. Yeah. And then I even made a video last night too that I'm going to be posting over the next couple of days, where I'm like, you know, what are things you should be preparing for before you even get signed? Because I see a lot of models, they do like runway walks. I'm like, you don't need to be investing money to learn your runway walk, dude. Like you need to be working on like being good in front of the camera. Because
I can say something about that, because I know a lot of mother agents and a lot of agents ask you to film yourself walking,
like an actual runway walk, or just like walk in front of them.
They want to see how you walk. They want to see how, I don't want to say the actual runway, but like they want to see like your walk, like to see if they could promote you in that high end stuff. Yeah, that's a big thing. Like I know a couple agents who have done that.
Well, to your point, agents. So I'm telling models, you shouldn't be focused on that until you get signed. Because there's no shot of you even walking for a New York Fashion Week or any CFDA show, because until you have an agency, you won't even get in those doors.
I think they just want to practice.
Well, the thing is, what I'm saying is like focus on the right things before you get signed. And the thing that we're discussing right now is like being comfortable on social media, knowing what to post and like knowing how to create content. That's the biggest issue that I see with models, is that they should be the first ones to be the most comfortable talking in front of the camera. And then that should lead them to figure out like, how can I create stimulating and engaging content so that people interact with you and stuff. So that's kind of like what I've noticed. But beyond that, like, do you think, especially for like other big and tall models that are watching, like what else do you think you could do beyond just posting consistently? What specifically, like on your Instagram, like is it more testing? Is it just getting more jobs under your belt? Like what do you think would help to get you the jobs that you have yet attained that is on your dream list?
Find the brands you want to work for, wear something similar to what they're selling, and have a shoot in it, so that way you could show them that I can wear your stuff and I look good in it and I can do it and I know how to pose. My angles are right. You know what I mean? So as far as that, like this recent test shoot I just did, because my agent, he was telling me like, you need some flavor on your portfolio. It's kind of bland. I'm like, all right. So add color. I'm like, okay. And I did. It was a little, you know, I was layered, suit, tie, like not suit, but just like a tie and just jacket, all that, and with some color in it. So I'm hoping that this is going to help promote to like just other brands that I can wear this, I could do this, I could do that. But as far as social media, like this recent test shoot I had with a friend, I met him at North Face. He, you know, I was asking him some advice because he lives in Paris and he's always traveling and like his pictures are amazing. Shout out Cedric. He was like, dude, I can literally see you doing a lot of like beauty stuff and like hair and makeups. Well, not makeup, but just like hair stuff, because your beard is nice, you have a hairline, like your hair is nice, all that. Like, talk to your agents on getting you into more stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right, like, why not? And I'm Ross and Marco, like literally, I talk to them often too, whenever, and they're the best. Like they're so transparent, and that's the biggest thing too that I love. It's just like we have great communication. Like I can text them like, hey, what do you guys think about this? They'll tell me like straight up like, oh, honestly, I love that. Let's try it. Or okay, we'll take that into consideration. Like, you know what I mean? So definitely post what you could relate. Now that you said that, like I'm in a niche, it's just like, you know what, yeah, I think now is like the time, because everything comes in waves, you know what I mean? Like right now is the trend. I don't know if big and tall is a trend right now, but I always think it's going to stay because there's a lot of big and tall people out here, and if I can be helpful and you can relate to my video with me dressing a certain way or with me doing this and that, then I need to do it.
So in your journey as a model, what is something that you found to be very important that you wish you would have known since the beginning?
Probably back to don't get your feelings into like wrapped up in this, like really just let it happen. Keep good relationships with everybody you meet on set, including your agents. Like that's the biggest thing. And what I mean by that is just like, don't be late. Please don't be late, because at the end of the day, you're a representation of your agency. So if you're always late, they're not going to want to work with you. And don't be an ass. Like, be very respectful. Be yourself. Be cool. Like, you know what I mean? Because I've ran into models on set and I'm like being a dick, bro. Just like be cool. Like we're here at the same place. You're not better than everybody. You know what I mean? Keeping a good relationship with your agents, they navigate how things are going to go for you. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I've heard a lot of stories of people saying like, yeah, man, I don't really like my agents. We are always getting into it. I'm just like, dude, you signed to them. So he was like, yeah, they presented themselves this way, but now that I've been with them, it's just not the same. I'm like, like I couldn't imagine, like I said before, I couldn't imagine beefing with any of my agents. Like they're some of the coolest guys in the world, like guys and girls in the world. Like they're amazing. Like we've built that relationship enough for us to like check in on each other here and there. Like we follow each other on Instagram, so they're seeing how I am, I'm seeing how they are, and just like they're very supportive. So that's one thing I can say.
How do you think you get to that point though? Like a new model that's watching who's like, how do I build that rapport with my agents the way that you have?
Well, it's different for me because I'm very social. It's like you can put me in a room full of nobody that I know, and I'll be friends with them. You know, like I've known them for 10 years. With modeling too, you need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because it's all new. So, and you have to know what you sign up for. So, with that being said, like as far as building that relationship with your agents, like, dude, you're grown. Like, you need to speak up, like, you know, because if you don't like something, don't wait till last minute. Don't wait till you get to the set to say, "Oh, I don't like this." Like, come on, dude, that's very just unprofessional. But to build that relationship with your agents, really, like, you know, just talk. They're people at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, they have an interest in you, obviously. So that was the big reason why I signed with them, because they wanted to really get to know me. And with me being involved with like mental health and all that and everything, they really love that, like that I have a story. So I would say just, you know, give a little bit of your story to your agents so that way they can know who you really are rather than just somebody they're sending out to make money off of. You know what I mean?
What would you say is like the most memorable thing one of your agents have done for you? Or what impression they left you with?
Really signing me, like taking that chance, taking that risk, especially with them being in the business for so long and me being the first big and tall model for for my agency is just like, you know, that means a lot to me because you guys are taking a chance and I'm taking a chance. So we're figuring it out together. And I mean, hey man, it's been a blessing ever since. I thank them every day. I thank Demonte. I thank Ross, Marco, Pam, and Martin for really just working with me and being patient and just being here. Like, and I thank God too, like really, because it's a blessing, because a lot of people would love to do what I do, you know what I mean? And it's like a lot of people can't do what I would do. So it's like, you know, because as soon as I got it, I can literally lose it tomorrow. So it's like I'm very appreciative and for them, because like I said, like they're so cool and they're so transparent and they'll be honest with me. So that's what I really love about them. And they're just super fucking cool, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, they're so cool. They live great lives. Like, they're doing great things. So, and I love that. And I love that for them. So
That's awesome, man. Okay, so let's speak it out to existence. What brands are you aiming for? Are you eyeing? What brands are you eyeing for?
man, honestly, I'm grateful for any brand that reaches out and really wants to work. I can see myself being in Target. I really want to do like a Kith shoot, like a campaign with them. I want to do Fear of God.
What about any beauty brands that you would do?
Shea Moisture, topicals.
What if you got hit up to do like a makeup campaign?
Shit, all right, just don't don't have me looking, you know, like crazy. I'm down. I mean, because another thing too, being a model, like you gotta wear makeup. Like,
well, yeah, you do wear makeup all the time.
Wear makeup all the time, and I had to get used to that because I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
I guess a good question to ask you is, would you have an issue with projects that would emasculate you or not be as masculine presenting?
Honestly, bro, because at the end of the day, like, you really have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, you're gonna do things, and it, like I said, it also depends on who it is. Like, say if it's a high fashion or high end brand wanting to do that, I mean, I'm with it as long as it's like, you know, it makes sense, you know. Because I look at it like this: there's a lot of people who have done these things and they're fine, like, you know what I mean, and I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm comfortable with myself, whatever it is. Because I have a boy who, like, one of my boys, he does stuff like that. He's thriving. He's going well. He's doing well for himself. Like, that fits him. I don't know necessarily because it hasn't happened yet if it will fit for me, but I'm willing to test it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm open to it. Clothing wise, I don't think I'm ready for that necessarily, but it's just makeup.
So I think all the girls that follow you want to know when they could expect to see your first underwear campaign.
Oh shit, I don't know. That's gonna be a minute. It's gonna be a minute.
What's the brand? What's the brand gonna be? What does the brand have to be? We're talking about Calvin
Klein, Savage, Fenty, Skims. That's who I really want to work for too.
That's a good brand.
I see that coming up because they worked with big and tall models, and yeah, I feel like I would kill that. And I know I would. Like,
are you ready for that? If they hit you up next week, hey, come through.
Yeah, I'll definitely be ready. I'm not worried because I see what they did, and it's just like, dude, I would look good in that. You know, I'm ready for that. Oh, another brand that I would love to work with: Fashion Nova, Boohoo, and ASOS. Yeah,
ASOS. I'm surprised hasn't booked you already because I feel like I always see big and tall models in their campaign or on their e-com stuff.
I would love to work with them. Their stuff is so dope, but I think they're out. I don't know where they're based at.
London. Have you? That goes to my next question. Then, have you been to like Europe or like tried any other market?
Well, I got submitted for a shoot out in London. I didn't get it, but it's okay. But while I was out there, my agent was going to set up meetings for me to have. But no, a goal of mine really is to get signed over there. Me specifically in my look, I would go crazy over there. You know, it's all on God's timing, bro. I'm not trying to rush anything, because when you rush it, that's when things don't work out. So it's just like, you know, I'm taking a slow pace, but I know it's going to happen eventually. It's just like little seeds being planted, you know.
Well, 2025, it's still the beginning of the year.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully this podcast sends some people your way.
All right, man. Look, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really excited for what's to come.
They're just going to be models asking you if they could be models.
It's fine.
Hey, bro, saw your podcast. Can I be a model?
I'm gonna send them back to you.
Go on, Brandon.
Yes.
No, but I appreciate you taking the time to come out, and I look forward to seeing your career growing.
Appreciate it.
As I have been since I've been following you, and I think it's dope what you do. I think it's cool to see that there are people that aren't necessarily your traditional models that are breaking the norm and are thriving and having, even if it's like passive income or side income, like just the fact that you have the ability to be on these people's radars is cool. Yeah, just keep us posted with what ended up happening. We're gonna be watching you and supporting you and every part of the journey that you take.
Likewise, man. I appreciate you. I thank you for having me. I'm excited to see where you go with your career and your content and everything. You probably helped out a lot more people than you think, you know, because you give very honest feedback, and like you tell the truth, and I think the world needs that, honestly, like the valid truth. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything, you know. So if you guys ever need help, go to him, stick with him, because it's gonna work. So
thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man.
Thanks for listening to today's show, and don't forget to hit that follow button to be in the loop when a new episode drops. Be sure to check out my model masterclass by visiting my website, brandonandrephoto.com, or by clicking the link in my bio on Instagram @thebrandonandre.